never felt that kind of love from someone. And so I felt this fatherly figure that could bring me in, and that's exactly what I did. And so through those moments over the last couple of years doing that, I was raising his child for him while he was out running around, didn't know what he was doing other than he was with clients. Well, he wasn't with clients. He was sleeping and living with other women and had over 30 girlfriends that I didn't know about. And I was one day putting some bottles in the child's cabinet and saw a paper plate that I pulled from. And as I pulled that plate, a ton of white powder covered my body, and it was illegal drugs that I also didn't know about. When this person found out about it, that was when I was succumbing to domestic violence. I was beaten, I was held at gunpoint, and I was forced to do many things I didn't want to do. And I was forced also to stop working, and I didn't know how to really cope with something like that. I thought my life was over. I was looking for a way to get out. I, thought that music was really where I wanted to go with this. But then again, if you're in a situation like that, you really don't know how to handle that kind of situation without going through it. So as I'm journeying through this, I get online, and lo and behold, everyone loves what? Craigslist, right? So I got on Craigslist and I started searching for this beautiful, new job and a place to live. This lady comes and she emails me and she says, hey, come over, we'll do an interview and see how that goes. Well, I did. I went over to her house and I opened the door, and it's this elaborate lady dressed in like gold shimmering clothing, and you see the sun rays beaming off of the lake because she lived on the lake, and brought me into her house. And that it was the pivotal moment of how my life was changed today. She taught me everything I needed to know about the law of attraction. She taught me women's empowerment. She taught me how to, go from broken to finding yourself again. And that's exactly where I'm on this mission today. I'm wanting to help women and empower them and help them through moments of domestic violence, confidence. And that is what I'm about, relationships and confidence. And that is what I love. That's what I love doing. And here I am today. I met this beautiful man as well. And he's helped guided me to see the pure, confident woman I am in myself, because as I went through that experience, I didn't know who I was, and I didn't know how to really teach something that I didn't know myself. I didn't know how to be a confident woman again, but he taught me this. And that's when we blossomed.
It's, to hear your story and read some of the words that you've written down, it's just, it's unthinkable the things that you went through in that period of time. I can only imagine how Ryan feels, even thinking about your history and when you have to retell it. And I'm sure it's a part of the healing process. Your story is not unique, I'm sure. And I know that there's a lot of domestic abuse out there. And I'm just wondering if you can just give us just something that people can cling on to if they're in that type of relationship, and how they can step out of that, and that doesn't have to be them, because I've been exposed to a fair amount of it through my show and people that I know, and their willingness to disclose their past to me. And I think there's so many more women out there suffering from similar situations. What would you say to them, or what are some of the steps that they should be taking right now?
Right now, I'd say get a journal and write down what you want. If it's in your free time, write what you want. Not only that, but the approach I had to take with this human I dealt with was forgiveness. Find a way to find forgiveness and find something you want to do for yourself, which is self-care. Those are 3 steps. So journal, finding forgiveness, and self-care. Do what you need to do for yourself, and that will help find a way out. That's how I did it. Yeah.
A pretty special person that brought you into her house. You went looking for a job, and you found a savior, perhaps, to get you out of the situation you're in.
Yeah, I did. She's actually pretty well known in the spiritual world. And if it weren't for her, I mean, I was a born and raised Catholic girl, so I was taught many different things that versus, a spiritual healer teaches.
Yeah.
And yeah, that certainly helped.
Ryan, you briefly touched on in your background to me via email that you had a substance abuse problem within the fitness world, and right now, I mean, people are so into themselves. You look at Instagram, and it's all about their selfies and their health and stuff like that. And I know a lot of people are down that same dangerous path and the pitfalls of that. Would you mind sharing a little bit of that with our listeners?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So I think people, Jim, would be very shocked to know that I don't know how high the percentage is. I know it's a lot higher than we probably want to hear, that when you're saying substance abuse or performance, like from performance enhancement drugs, it's rampant from all ages, and I would say both sexes. And ask me how I know, because I've been in the world for my whole life. Danielle's actually did a fitness competition, and there's so many things that are out there that I think people don't realize to be performance enhancing. It doesn't have to be just injectable steroids. But when you're asking about this, so I step into my vulnerability because I want to be an advocate for other people who are struggling with this. Why does someone get into performance enhancing drugs? So for certain reasons, but I think deep down there's a commonality. There's a weak or a deep sensation down where someone feels that they need to look a different way than they do today because they lack some self-confidence or worthiness. So whether you think you're slower, you need to be bigger or faster, I need to look a certain way. And that's obviously done through a lot of the marketing and publicity and the press and news today. The ideal woman or ideal man, I fell into that trap, Jim, where I thought I had to be this lean, big, muscular guy. Obviously, I followed a lot of the big bodybuilders, 60s, 70s, 80s. I mean, all of that, I go deep into it. And I got respect, I'll say this, because of the way I looked. Mm-hmm. So I thought that's what was cool. I thought that was valuable, and it wasn't. It was a expensive journey. It's a dangerous journey because of the health benefits that are in there. In my body every day, so I'm only 31 years old, Jim, and my body feels like an 80-year-old many days. And Danielle knows this, and it's a struggle, and I was open about it. But I have to be on certain hormones to kind of maintain, or my body won't produce them. So it's unfortunately a decision I took that was not something I probably should have. I was not someone, when I was younger, I was a skinny guy. I was 6 foot, 150-pound guy, pretty lean guy. And now I'm about 100 pounds more than I weigh now. And I maintain that. But it's an experience that allowed me, and I'm glad I went through it, to be an advocate and to be in the spot I am today. But it was unfortunate because I thought I had to look this certain way, and these substances would attribute to this look. And if I have this look, I'll have this success. It's completely false. And I think many people don't understand, like what you're saying on Instagram, especially all the other social platforms. Many of the people that women and men are looking to as an ideal role model, be careful, because a lot of stuff that they're doing is stuff that probably wouldn't jive well. It's not good for your health. And through all the teachings and the people I work with, just because someone looks great doesn't mean they're healthy. And I'm at the point now where I'm okay not being, 4% body fat, not being strong on this or that. And I feel so much better and confident because people like Danielle have given me the confidence and the security to go, this is who I am. And yes, my past is something that was real. I don't do that anymore, and I'm not for it. So if someone wants to go down that road, I try to advocate why not to do it. And if you are going to do it, here are the risks. If you're competing for something at the highest level, obviously that's a decision you have to make. I would highly suggest not doing it. But I'm embarrassed, Jim, to say, because of me on my values, that I went down this path. I don't know why I did. I was weak at that point, but I think 1,000% that it was for a reason. Now that I look full circle, it's so I can teach other people who are younger than me or people who are struggling with the body image on what are other healthy routes that you could take. And here's why to do it. And I'm currently living with the effects. So no doubt, I know what it's like to go down there, and I respect people who decide to do it, but I'm a full advocate to not take performance enhancing drugs for many reasons.
I had you bring it up not only because you had mentioned it, but it's not something that I suffered from, but I had a lot of friends in the 80s and 90s that went through that. And, performance enhancing drugs are not only dangerous, people don't realize how much discipline they require as well from your diet and all the things that you need to be doing. It's not a quick fix. It's actually probably a lot more work to be on them and follow a protocol of them. People don't realize that. But, it's just as you suggested, and this is what's happened to my friends, most of them are injured now. And they don't live healthy lives, even in their younger years, because of it. And I'm so glad that you're open and willing to share that. So thank you for that.
Well, I just want to make one comment on that. So I've had 2 shoulder surgeries now. My back hurts. My knees are completely shot. But I'll tell you what it does on a higher level. People who are in that world, that unless you're like competing at the highest level and you're someone that maybe wants to better your fitness, your health, if you get so far down the path that you're avoiding your friends, your family, because you got to do that, you have to live a certain way. Like you said, the discipline, I respect immensely. But when I look back, I miss so many great moments of my life that and to your point, again, to reiterate the name of your podcast, I said no to many people. All the times I could have a fun experience, go on a vacation, go out with friends, or do things that enrich your life, I avoided so I can stay looking a certain way. So I can stay feeling a certain way for this particular amount of time, and I'll never get that time back ever again.
Yeah, it is the sad part about society that we look to what we see on social media as what's acceptable. And we say social media today, but in the past it was magazines or TV or celebrities. My trainer, a lot of people know I'm a competitive Spartan racer. My wife is as well, and she was starting to develop some muscle naturally. And she said to the trainer while I was in the room, she says, Jordan, what do I have to do to get bigger muscles? And he said, look, the people that you see with those bigger muscles are on something. Nobody naturally has abs that look like that or biceps that look like that without taking something. So please get used to the body that you have and know that you're a successful athlete. My wife was ranked 3rd in the United States in 2018 for women 30 to 35. So she's this kind of athlete, but she wanted more muscle. So he really shot her down. But it resonated with me that how he put that, like nobody looks that way without doing something that they shouldn't be doing. And
Absolutely.
And I think that's an extension of your message, that you can be happy with what you have and finding whether that's the right partner or the right level of acceptance from your friends and family for who you are and what you are at the time, instead of trying to find it somewhere else.
Oh, 1000% agree. And to kind of tie in when you brought in the beginning that spring season, to me, spring, brings up feelings of renewal, of growth. I feel like it's a new chapter, and it's a part to really achieve. And when winter ends, we're in there more of the hibernation rest mode. Now we're kind of in the growth mode of spring. And I think for Danielle and I, and any couple out there, it's critical to have an accountability partner. And that's, I think, where we tie things in. Without her, and I know for Danielle, without me, we don't exist and keep at this high level, this high frequency of achieving. And if we don't have that accountability, it's so easy to veer off, no matter at what level or who you are as a person. We all need someone to keep us there in all facets of your life.
You both come from such different backgrounds, but high levels of toxicity in your stories. And the couple that I see in front of me on the Zoom call is completely the opposite. You guys have figured it out. You've accepted your backgrounds and what's happened to you, and you've made a choice to move past that, even to the point of where you're helping others. Danielle, can you tell me what it's like when you get a client that jumps into one of your 30, 60, 90-day programs, and kind of where your jump-off point is, coming from the background that you come from, but I'm sure you see all sorts of people coming to you.
I do. Yeah. It's one of those jaw dropping moments where it's almost you can't believe it. You've gotten this far.